Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariana, but you can call me Ari. And today we are sitting on the couch. The couch is a far more comfortable place to sit than where I was sitting in my previous videos at this little table, breakfast nook area. It's cute, but it's wooden and it's hard and it's just not comfortable to sit on after a few minutes. So today I was craving something comfortable, something relaxed, something cozy. We are on the precipice of a potential winter storm. I don't know if it's going to come far enough east that it will affect me, but we will get some residual weather from it for sure. And so it's just gloomy, it's kind of rainy vibes, and I'm just kind of feeling like I want to go inward today. So, also, Milo, my cat. If you watch my Black Classics video, I mentioned his name having been Solstice, my cat's name. It's not anymore. Solstice was the name that they gave him at the shelter, and though Solstice is a cute name, it's just when it's not the name that you picked, it doesn't sit, if, at least for me, it doesn't sit well with me because I'm like, I want to get to know his personality and see what name to give him. So I settled on Milo. And sometimes Milo, when I sit here, he often likes to sit here. But when I'm filming, he seems to find a way to make himself disappear. He's right now resting in his cat tree, and I don't want to pick him up. He doesn't like to be picked up, so I'm not going to drag him on camera if he doesn't want to be. If he shows up organically one day, he will. If not, it is what it is. But he's a very sweet boy that may make an appearance, so we'll see. So today, with all that preface, let's get into what we're doing. We are talking about all the books that I want to reread in the future. And before we do, if you could take a moment to like this video, of course, not only does it make me very happy, but it also does tell the algorithm that I'm doing something right and will continue to recommend me to like-minded people as yourself. And also with that, if you could let me know, do you like to reread books? Like, what's your philosophy behind rereading books? Are you someone who likes to reread books, or which type of books would you reread? Do you reread series? I'm curious to know because I wasn't always someone who believed in the idea of reading books for the obvious reason of there are so many books to read. Why would I want to reread something if there are so many other books to engage with? I just kind of want to keep going forward. But so much of my reading has been shifted towards quality versus quantity. I'm a slower reader, I'm a physical reader, so I only can read at certain times and points of the day, and it makes me slow down how I read and what I read, and it just makes me sit with the work. And lately, since I've started, I've always been a reader, but in years prior, because of school and because of just working in college and just not having time and having to read other things I'm supposed to read for college and do for college, I just didn't have the luxury to really sit and read. And now that I do, I don't really still, but I make the time now. I'm better at managing my time, I think. I look back and I think, man, there were so many books I read in college that I don't remember very well because of so much having been going on during that time of my life. It was towards the peak of the pandemic. I graduated in 2020, so it was just a weird time for reading and media, and I just wasn't retaining things the way I feel like I can retain things now. So these are the books that I want to reread for reasons like I know they made an impact on me, but I just don't remember them very well, or I remember them very well and I just want to re-experience them, or these are just books that I need to engage with again in order to really sink in and settle in with the themes of these books. So let's start. I think there are 7 total, and we're going to start with Communion, The Female Search for Love by Bell Hooks. I read this in college. I did not read, I did read All About Love, but I haven't read Salvation. So there are 3 books in this kind of exploration of love. And the first one is The Female Search for Love. And this one is about many ways in which women can and do and struggle to find and live in love. It's about love as it relates to partners, but also love as it relates to your body, love as it relates to, work and the work love balance and the struggle of being of success versus, maintaining relationships and love, and the love between friends and the love between family and mothers and daughters and sisterhood. It's all kinds of love being explored in the search for that love and the importance and beauty of love and safe love and reciprocity and self-love, but love beyond self-love and the importance of the foundation of self-love and all these things about the female search for love. So I would love to reread this maybe in February, as a way to kind of, you know, it's Black History Month, but also like it's a month um, of, Valentine's Day and love. And I think Black love in literature could be a nice focus. Maybe. So this is one that I certainly want to reread, and I want to read all three of them as well. I think there are some quotes that I highlighted. I'm just going to flip and see if I can find something that I highlighted, because it's really cool to see, look back on what things you found compelling. Here's something. When we are self loving, we attend to the deeper needs of our soul. We no longer fear abandonment or loss of recognition. We see ourselves clearly as we really are, and that clarity is the source of our strength and peace of mind. It is the space of mindful awareness where we can search for love together, communing and celebrating, cherishing the sweetness of sustained female solidarity. And that was from her chapter Sisterhood, Love, and Solidarity. So she has a really wonderful way of making this really attainable and really palatable for anyone who's interested in like understanding how they may engage with love and your own patterns of behavior. And so this is a really good one. Bell Hooks is awesome. So I recommend this if you haven't read it, but this is totally on the reread list. The next one, okay, is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I laugh because I'm thinking about who I was when I first read this book. So I I went through this phase of like, I don't know, this really strong sense of like this passion for reading books that were challenging, I guess. I started with Beloved first, is what I'm trying to say for Toni Morrison's works. As this was my first Toni Morrison book I've read, was Beloved. I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend starting with Bella Hooks. Or I don't recommend starting with Beloved if you haven't read anything else by her, because it's more dense. It's one of her more dense works, and it is just not, in my opinion, the most accessible way into Toni Morrison works. It might even scare you a little bit, and it didn't deter me from reading her because I'm a quite determined person, but I was confused, because there, if I remember correctly, there's like a lot of like distortion of time and reality. And if you're not familiar, this is a book about a woman named Seth who escaped slavery, and but she still lives with like all the haunting things that happened to her and around her during that time, and she's never really truly escapes that part of her life. And she also is haunted by her dead baby that comes back in different forms, and it causes a lot of grief and hauntings. And so it is a very dark story, but the language for me at the time was very hard to follow. So if you're new to Toni Morrison, everybody has a different opinion about where to start because based off of their own experience. But for me, I really like starting with Sula, and I really like starting with maybe Song of Solomon. I haven't read all of Toni Morrison's books yet, so that it's just based off of what I have read where I would start. But I want to read this again slower because I remember when I read this, I was reading it way too fast, under the thought that if I read it faster, I would understand it better. Like maybe I felt like I was overthinking it. And so because I was reading it so slow at first, and then I started to pick it up and thought maybe if I read fast, it will all come at me fast and it will make sense more quickly. That didn't work out that way. So Beloved is on the list of rereads for sure, so I can get a better sense and connection with themes in the story, and maybe now that I'm a little older, it will hit a little different. The next one is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This is a coming of age story of a girl, I think her name is Francie. Francie, who is growing up in Brooklyn at the turn of the 20th century. That's all I remember. It's funny because I have like a little sticky tab in here of something that stuck out to me. It says, a change in belief system. Francie always thought New York would be magical and different, but now she sees it's not much better or different. Now she believes there's nothing new in the world. So I guess at some point the character has one vision of what the city is like, life is like, and then later on she kind of has a different opinion of it based off of her experiences. This is one that I don't remember the details of, but I do love a coming of age story. I do love following a character's arc from youth to into adulthood, and they're like just following their mindset. Yeah, so this is on the list because it's iconic. It was good, but also I just need to refresh my memory on the details. The next one is one that I don't know. Okay, let's just say it. 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This book is also an iconic read. Like when I say iconic, I think I really want to say like popular and like one that people have talked about a lot and has been, I mean, Oprah, it was in Oprah's book club. So this is a popular one about a magical, realistic town that I can't remember which country it takes place in. But it's a magical realism town called Macondo, and it follows the history of the Buendia family. And it also follows the history of the magical town as well. So we go through the rise, the peaks and valleys, the falls of this town, as well as the family. I do believe there's a lot of drama and chaos in it. It must have done something for me because look at all the dog ears that I have. I have so many pages dog eared. And so there's something happened for me with this book. I just don't remember it very well, and I feel like I do remember it kind of starting kind of slow, so that could be part of my beef. There's something I highlighted here. I want to read it. I don't know what it. Anyway, it says no one could tell him because Macondo was a town that was unknown to the dead until McQuades arrived and marked it with a small black dot on the motley maps of death. Don't know why that stood out to me, but we'll find out when I reread it. The next one, ooh, I remember this one. Man, yeah, In the Dream House. In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This book is a memoir. And a memoir, let me sip my tea for this one. Well, that was not a sip. That was a whole chug. Wait, it's really good. This is a cat hair. Ever since getting a cat, like I love my cat. I love cats, but man, the amount of cat hair in my mouth and in my hair is insane. This is a tea from Trader Joe's. It's called Cocoa Berry. I've never seen it before at Trader Joe's, but it's so good. It's a black tea, and I don't drink coffee, so it's my way of getting energy in the morning. But Cocoa Berry at Trader Joe's, cop you some. It's like $2, and it comes with 10 packets inside. Anyway, this book is a memoir, and it is a memoir about the psychological trauma, abuse, and survivorship that the author experienced in a relationship she was in. And so that may turn you off because of all the triggers that does involve. And I do encourage you to take care of yourself with whatever you read. But the way that this book is told, it's told through these little vignettes. And so every chapter starts with Dream House. So it says Dream House as Haunted Mansion, Dream House as Chekhov's Trigger, Dream House as Comedy of Errors. She takes these tropes from like different literature and different works, and like Dream House as demonic possession, Dream House as ambiguity. So she takes all these like kind of narrative writing tropes and uses those tropes to kind of talk about the experiences that she had in this relationship. And it's she changes the way she changed the way I thought about nonfiction and specifically as it relates to memoir. She made me more open to reading more memoirs because of the way she wrote about memoir. She just changed my way of seeing nonfiction books. And so, man, I want to read this again so bad because it just there's a quote in here that I highlighted, a random quote. I don't know why I highlighted it, but we're gonna read it. It says, "Maybe when queerness is so normal and accepted that finding it will feel less like entering paradise and more like the claiming of your own body, imperfect but yours." It's very personal. It's very honest. Something that she said in the beginning though was kind of like tea a little bit. She said, "Dreamhouse as overture. I never read prologues. I find them tedious. If what the author has to say is important, why relegate it to the paratext? What are they trying to hide?" Mm. So I don't know. I just think that her approach is very different. So I can't wait to get back into this because it is a book again that got me interested in reading more memoirs. And memoirs are probably my favorite type of nonfiction books to read because they're so narrative. Because so many people have different styles of writing a memoir and in talking about their life that it reads like fiction, but you're also getting this very real account of someone's experience. So this in the cover is just it's genius. I don't know. It's just like it's great. The book is great. I recommend In the Dream House if you haven't read it. It's probably one of my favorite memoirs I've read to date, for sure. Okay, James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room. This is a book that takes place in 1950s Paris. It follows the love, life, and morality of our main character, whose name I can't remember. But this book, more than anything, is just about the way James Baldwin writes. He's just a wonderful writer, and the way he tells the story, the way we go through this journey of the tricky way of navigating this queer relationship during the 50s Paris, and just the morality of it. He's caught between desire and morality, violence. There's all kinds of just really beautiful moments in this book that I don't remember. And so I must read this again. This is on the list of the books that I have for my Black Classics video that I wanted to reread. So I thought I would just include it here because it's an iconic book and he's an iconic writer and I need to read more of his work. Okay. The last one I want to talk about is one that I've talked about much earlier on in this channel's life, about 2 years ago. It's probably one of the first videos I made where I mentioned Read Until You Understand by Farah Jasmine Griffin, The Profound Wisdom of Black Life in Literature. I got this book from my local Black-owned bookstore where there's this woman. Her name is Mama June. Okay, Mama June. She is a woman who is a bookseller at this store. I'm sure she's a woman of many hats, but like how I know her is that she sells books, and she sold me on this one. I will recommend anything that woman suggests to me. I just love her energy. And she has not steered me wrong yet. She's the one who told me, if you remember, if you watch my Black Classics video, she's the one who told me to read the autobiography of an ex-colored man before I read Invisible Man. This book is it's a memoir, it's an autobiography, it's also like a literary exploration of works of Black writers, and it's also connected to the writer's own life, Griffin's own life, as it relates to the death of her father. I think she was deeply inspired to write this book because of her father, because her father really pushed the importance of autodidactic learning, which is self-learning and teaching yourself, and the importance of Black people doing that so that they can have a better and clearer understanding of their history, their culture, and where they come from and where they're going, things that you're just not taught in school. And so one of the things that her father wrote down on a note for her was Read Until You Understand. And that's became the title of the book, which is, man, the title of the book is so powerful to me. I don't know what it is. But if you're someone who is interested in Black history, or maybe you're just starting out, I think this is a great place to start. This is a very underrated, unpopular book that is phenomenal. And it takes works from writers like Phyllis Wheatley, Frederick Douglass, Francis Harper, Malcolm X, Toni Morrison, Romare Burton, Marvin Gaye, Jasmine Ward, and many others. And she takes these little works and like kind of pulls these different ideas and quotes and things from them. And it's also a book that will give you a wealth of other books to read that you may not have known existed by some of these more popular writers. I always love the idea of like reading the more popular works is great, but also looking back at their backlist or like their older books is also nice to see where they came from and like how their writing shifted over time. And so she does that, and she also talks about the grief of losing her father and just like the power of intellectualism and autodidactic learning and literature uh, that he really pushed her to invest in and like has really shaped her writing and her reading. And it's certainly paid off in a beautiful way because this book is so good. I highly recommend it. She has another book out that I need to go back to this bookstore and pick up, but man, I like her. I think also Amani Perry mentioned Farrah Jasmine Griffin in her book Black and Blues, I believe. So yeah, I love parallels like that. When I hear other authors talk about other authors, I'm like, oh, I read her. That's really cool to see that my reading is coming all, there's like this interconnectedness of the books that I read, and that's really fun to see. So those are all those are all 7 of the books that I want to reread in the future. I can't say that it'll happen this year. There's so many books that I want to read this year. This year, more than ever, I feel like I want to read so many different things. But we're going to invest in quality over quantity. Okay, there are so many things I haven't read that I wish I had already, but I refuse to think like in lack. I don't lack. I just am someone who's invested in the quality of a thing. And so that's how I want to invest in my reading this year. So if I get to these this year, great. If I don't, I can see myself getting to maybe 2 or 3 of these books potentially. So yeah, let me know if there are any books that you want to reread this year or at all. Do you reread books? And how do you feel about me sitting on the couch? Does it matter to you? I don't know. I kind of like it. My back doesn't hurt. So you might see me on the couch more often. But anyway, thank y'all so very much for watching this video, for your continued kindness and support. I really do appreciate it. I love that we're slowly but surely building a community here. People are talking to each other in the comments. That's my favorite thing, is seeing people who may not have met each other otherwise are under the comments in my video talking to each other, not just to me, but having these conversations about your favorite books and different ideas back and forth. Let's keep that going because I love it so much. It's a space in which we can just share ideas, share our excitement about books, share new information that I may not know, right? I don't seek to know everything, and I don't know everything. So I'm always happy to hear more about what you have, what knowledge you have about these books and what kind of connections you can draw. And if there's any recommendations you have, please don't hesitate to share them below. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.